Well, we're excited about our conversation today with Lamar Slay. He's the president of Partners in Church Consulting. And today we're talking about capital campaigns. So maybe a good place for us to kick off the conversation is what exactly is a capital campaign?
Capital campaign is a time when a church realizes they need additional facilities, or it may even be for mission work. It can be for anything. Normally it's for a building or for land, for relocation, those sort of things. So they have an emphasis, usually it's 2 or 3 years long, where they ask their people to give above and beyond their normal tithes and offering. And so the church has to be real careful that people just don't switch from one bucket to another, but it's above and beyond. So it's an opportunity to teach generosity. It's an opportunity to teach people how to be sacrificial. It's an opportunity to get the whole family involved in what they're all willing to do in order to see God's vision accomplished. The interesting thing is that many churches do campaigns for the wrong reasons. And that's usually just your guaranteed failure when you do that. But when God lays a vision on someone's heart, a pastor, and they move forward with it with the church, many times it requires an extra effort as far as giving goes.
So when I hear that too, as a pastor myself, I think it's an opportunity for discipleship, even to grow in faith for our congregations.
It absolutely is. As a matter of fact, you hope that what a church learns, what they go through in a capital campaign results in stronger believers and more generosity and in people growing in Christ. Giving is one of those areas we don't do a lot of discipleship on. So a campaign gives you that opportunity and a concentrated effort to teach people about generosity.
That's so good. That's so good. So maybe talk about, if now getting into the details of the capital campaign, what would be key factors that would really make a successful capital campaign for a church?
And we miss it a lot of times here. The key factor is the vision. Your campaign has to be about the vision. Psalms 29:18 says that where there's no vision, people perish. Most all believers specifically know that verse, but I'm not sure sometimes we really understand it. You see, your buildings exist only as they help you accomplish your vision. And if it's not going to help you accomplish your vision, there's really no need for a building. Many times people think they can build a building and it'll help their attendance. And that's just not true. When you need a new building is when your building is keeping you from accomplishing your vision.
Wow, that's
when
great.
It becomes a deterrent, then you need a new building. Other than that, you really don't need it. And so vision is just key. The buildings are what the money's going to go for, but they're not the greatest advantage of having a capital campaign. And you have to make sure that you have the vision is the goal of your campaign. Because if it's just a money deal, people don't get excited about that. People get excited when they catch the vision that God's given their church. And when they see that what we're doing here is helping advance that vision, when they catch that vision, then they'll do anything that God leads you to ask them to do. They'll give, they'll volunteer. It's much more than just $1 in the offering plate. It's key in the life of a church. Not only will they give, but when they catch the vision, they'll give sacrificially. And that's what you're asking people to do, is to give above and beyond what they normally give.
So vision is the key to build a successful campaign. Now, what would you say, from your experience, would be ways that we successfully develop, communicate, and release that vision?
Well, I think there are 3 things that the vision has to be before you can ever get to, publicity or communication, whatever. It has to be big. It has to be big enough that unless God shows up, it's not going to be successful. So that takes a step of faith from the pastor, from the leadership, from the people. But it has to be big enough that unless God shows up, it's just not going to happen. The second thing is it has to be bought. The pastor has to buy it. And I know that's a secular word, but he's got to buy it. Not only that, his staff has got to buy into the vision. If you've got a staff and they're not buying into the vision, you're doomed. You're doomed. And then also your elders, your deacon, your leadership, they have to buy into the vision. So that comes back to the pastor and the leadership. They've got to challenge their leadership. Hey, this is where God is calling us to go. Here's what we've got to do. I need your support in that. And then the last thing is it has to be believable. There's a difference between things being believable and then not trusting God to do the unexpected. We see unexpected things happen in campaigns all the time. But if it's a vision that is so big that the people can't believe in it, then that's not a good thing. Say a very small church with a $500,000 budget had a vision that was going to cost $10 million. Well, the people would look at that and go, that's not going to happen here. God can do miracles, but he also is going to use the people and the resources that he's placed in a particular church to see those things happen.
Yeah, I love that. When I hear believable too, I think of that idea, achievable, attainable. It's something that it's big, but it's something that we can do. And so something going through my mind here is maybe there's a pastor out there who says, man, I just believe the vision that God's given me is a new building. I get the picture of a new building in my mind. And just a second ago, you said, well, the building is not the thing. It's just a container. So to help that person differentiate between vision and the project maybe that they're after.
That's key, because the building can't be the vision, but seeing that building filled with people seeking God can be the vision.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, when your building starts hindering the vision, when you start turning people away, when you have your parking lots packed and you have new visitors show up and drive around and leave, then your facilities are hurting you and they're keeping you from reaching people. So it's real important that those two things coexist, that, we need a building, but the reason we need a building is that we've got people here that God's called us to reach. Lots of times in campaigns, we'll do campaign videos, but it's a life story of somebody who came to the church, who found Jesus, who's walking with him, their marriage has been restored. Right. And the fact that there are hundreds more couples just like this that we need to reach. And if we're going to reach those people, we've got to make space for their children. Yeah. We've got to make space for their cars. We've got to make space in the auditorium. There are really three things that physically that control growth in a church. One of those is the auditorium space. Let's say you've got an auditorium that'll seat 500 people. Well, the second thing is parking. If you can't park the cars that bring 500 people, you'll never fill the auditorium up. Right. Likewise, if you don't have children's space for those couples to leave their kids, you'll never fill the parking lot or the worship center up. So those things control. So your vision, if it's in relationship to a building, needs to consider all those things. It's got to be balanced in whatever you do.
So good.